Greetings and welcome to In-Depth. I'm Dike Rostant. Now, if there is one person who is a living manifestation of the Jamaican saying little but Tallawah, it is Kerine Williams Figaro. I mean, it's someone so small that her sobriquet is tiny, but at the same time, the powerful punch that she packs in song, as well as the issues and topics that she addresses in her music, is really something is really something to behold. But she continues trending upward because she's just back from wowing judges and audiences alike in Montserrat for a regional competition. But we'll talk more about that with her now. Congratulations, welcome, happy new year, everything. How you doing, Miss Tiny?
I am fine. I am fine. Thank you for having me.
Definitely our pleasure. And I'm laughing because when I saw the welcome back at every bacchanal in the airport, what was that? What would that feel like for you?
Well, it was unexpected, but let me tell you, it was one of the most amazing experiences ever. I think just being home because I missed home, but just coming back and then, being celebrated. I felt really, really, really good within myself. So it was an awesome feeling.
And part of the reason that I ask about that kind of validation from peers, because it's one thing you on the stage and people in the audience, but people who do the same thing that you do and know some of the rigors that happen behind the stage, out of the eye of the public, while you grinding when people in the bed sleeping, snoring, to celebrate you like that. And even now, looking at the top you're wearing, to be giving you your flowers, it
Well,
really, it
you
sometimes it could
know,
hit different.
it did hit different, and when you know that your peers appreciate what you do and they support you, that support is tremendous. I mean, I came in and I saw familiar faces and I was scared at first. I was like, what going on here? And then they started to and I was like, oh my god, welcome party. It was literally about five of them, five six of them, and they made so much noise. I think everybody in the airport, they were turning around and I was like, wow.
But what was that journey like though? In terms of like, is it a matter of folks at Montserrat reaching out to you? Uh, how did you become a part of the competition?
Okay, so what the competition is about? It's the top regional female calypsonians in their different countries. So in Trinidad and Tobago, I would have been the top female from the Calypso Monarch because I placed second, but I was the top female of all the other females. So the invitation came for me to represent Trinidad and Tobago, and of course Terry Lyons, she won the crown previously, so she would have gone to defended her that title. So I became the next representative because of my placement in the Calypso Monarch.
And I no this this is part of the conversation I almost wanted to say with Terry, but was your reaction when you see the plane?
Listen, I was like, what going on here? Because I am expecting a big plane. And then I see this little thing. I was like, I really have to get on this. I was screaming and actually messaged back home and say, if I see this little plane, I have to get on. And they started to laugh at me and actually took a picture by the plane just so that I can say, well, I've been here. But it at first it was scary. But when I got on, the trip itself, it was great. And I think they were very welcoming and comforting and awesome. So, that made me feel okay.
And it's really something. It's actually getting to Montreal for the first time. I was introduced to the concept of open seating, where the pilots say, "Okay, well, you sit here and you sit there." I'd be like, "You serious?" And I sat in the first row going, so I felt like I could have helped the pilot move some of the knobs and thing. I said, I don't know, I feel it kind of, yeah, boy. But in terms of like so it's one thing to get to the island of Montserrat and looking, you said people were welcoming. What's the thing that struck you the most in terms of your visit there? It could be the visit there leading up to the competition itself.
I was surprised that people actually knew who I was. I was like, it's just like, I know you know, and they keep hearing my songs. I was like, I know that song, you know, I looked at you in the Monarch and I'm really. So I was like, people really follow the different islands and they say, well, you know, Trinidad is the mecca of calypso. And that in itself, because their expectations of us, Trinis, it's really high. So I was surprised that they actually know of me and they know of my music, right? Because I think some of them said that when they heard To You With Love, they went and they researched some of my other songs and some of them took a liking to what I do. So for me, that was awesome. I was like, wow.
But To You With Love is not the only song that you did. But I want to know, is that really a St. Augustine uniform that you organized? Because if it didn't have the yellow in it, I would have said SAGs. But I said no.
Part of the
I know
uniform,
that
I
Madras.
think St. Joseph Secondary uses that plan. But it was so ironic, right? Somebody told me on the island that they have a school there that uses the same uniform, right? But because I didn't have any props per se to go to Montserrat, my thing was, how can I present this song, Fruits Ain't Ripe Yet? So I thought, okay, school uniform, you know, present myself as the child or the young lady and then use myself as the prop. So that was the whole idea behind the school uniform, and I almost got myself in trouble.
Let's
They
telling you,
actually,
because here the shutter is one secondary school the island. It's 3 primary school the island have. And you wear the outfit for one of the primary school. You're gonna
it wasn't planned. It wasn't planned. I did not research any of the schools on the island. So it just happened. It just happened.
that happening dangerous. But even like, and looking at the fact that you would have all, but in terms of planning and doing research, it seems as though you did enough research that you were able to have 2 individuals on stage for To You With Love. What was that process like?
So, you know, I was trying to, because in Trinidad here, I called a lot of the icon names, right? And I wanted to do the same in Montserrat. I did not want them to feel left out or out of it in any way. And so I was doing my research. There's a third verse in my song that speaks to Calypsonians that have passed. And so I included in the last line of that song Undertaker, Ruler, and Arrow, right? Which, you know, 3 Calypsonians which would have died in, you know, Montserrat. But, you know, Arrow, I feeling hot, 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 he would have contributed a lot to the art form there, right? As well as throughout the song, I called different Calypsonians' names. I had to get into the thing. I had to, you know, and then I was asking questions. This one, how long have this one been singing? You know, what was their contribution like? And so very last minute, because I had 2 persons that I wanted to use. I actually wanted to use 4 persons, but could not get in contact with them. So King Kenzie, he had won the Calypso Monarch 3 times in Montserrat. And Candy is the only female to ever win the Calypso Monarch in Montserrat, and she did so 4 times. So I felt as if, you know, it was enough to wow the judges, and also to pay homage to them because they would have contributed a lot to the culture of their country. And I really felt good when I asked and they said, yeah, sure, awesome. I really, really felt good because you remember, they don't know me. And it was just awesome that they would say yes, and I was grateful.
And it's one thing to hear Panis the night before they change up a piece of the arrangement and they add something in. But is it easy or hard when you're singing To You With Love this way all the time to put this new line in or to put these names in? How easy or how hard is that?
It's not easy because you have to be on the stage and you have to be focused and keep in mind that you want to do these things. You want to call these persons names. And I think that had me focused because especially when I started to call the names and the crowd realized I was calling names of Calypsonians from their country, they started to react to the names. So I think that gave me a little more to remember, because you have to remember what I have been doing with the song. Anywhere I go and people ask me to sing the song, I was changing names to suit the occasion. So, you know, any Calypsonians I would meet along the way, I sang the song at for teachers. And then I call the different teachers' names in the song. So, you know, it not only for Calypsonians, really, but it's to pay homage or show appreciation for anybody who would have contributed a lot either to your life or to the art form, to culture of your country, you know. So I think there's more depth that I can do with the song. So I change it accordingly.
And it's beautiful when you have a song that has legs, as some people say, and you're able to take lyrics to suit an occasion, because it gives it a larger breath. But we're going to take a breath and come back. We continue speaking with Kerine Williams Figaro. Stay with us. We come back with more. Welcome back. We are speaking with Tiny. I don't know if I should say Tiny, if I should say Miss, if I should say Kerine Williams Figaro. But at the same time, all is not all that you're doing is in Montserrat, like you just intimated. And the reason that you were invited to reach the Montserrat is because you would have placed second and Calypso Monarch for 2023. Now, Montserrat was a first-time experience. Was it a first-time experience on the stage in this manner as well for the Calypso Monarch in Trinidad and Tobago?
It was my first time in the finals, the National Calypso Monarch finals. I've been knocking on the door for years. I've been to the National Calypso semi-finals 7 times, so lucky 7. And on my 7th trip, you know, I was good enough for the judges to give me the nod to send me to the finals. And what an experience, what a journey that was. I mean, coming second, oh, you know, I continue to say I feel so good. Just by reaching the finals was an awesome experience for me.
And it's one thing to say, okay, well, I'm going to do a song like this, but the thought is different, because I'm sure there are many people who would have studied or thought about a concept like this, but they didn't necessarily put it into play. What was that thing that drove you to say, I want to do this song? I don't know if it's a matter of reaching out to Sheldon Nugget. Is it that he put the idea to you? You all had a conversation. What was that like?
Well, you see, Sheldon and I, we have a connection that people don't understand. We will be discussing something because, you know, we talk a lot. We have that kind of relationship, and we will be discussing something, and then he would say, all right, I have an idea. Or I would be sharing something with him, and then he would say, you know, I think we should sing about that. Or I would tell him, I think this year I want to sing a nation building. But with this song, we came out from the COVID losing a lot of people, and losing Singing Sandra really touched me in a different kind of way. I remember I was home when I got the phone call, and I sat there for probably a couple hours and I couldn't move, you know, because the Thursday before we were supposed to meet to rehearse, because the Saturday we had a show, and mother just said, you know, I'll be back. The last time we spoke, and she said, you know, and I was just like, what? Because it hit me different. And then, you know, we saw all the big celebration of life and all of those things. And then it seems like you're forgotten after those, you know, the 9 days after your song beat on the radio, and we forget them, right? Blacks, I mean, their music will live on, but why must we wait till they die? before we show them that we love them. Sometimes Calypsonians are sick. They're in the hospital. Nobody knows that they're there and they're suffering. Nobody visits them. Calypsonians would have shows. Nobody would be interested to go, right? They betting to buy a ticket for $200, but they will fit for 12 and 15 and right. Not that, you know, we're saying that people can't make their own choices, but this is how we are treated, right? And even in that, after we've been treated that way, we've been the voice of the people for so long, bringing issues to the forefront, we've forgotten. So it's like the forgotten few. And then when we die, they give us accolades, they praise us, they say, you know, what great works. And that's that. And then we move on to the next best. And I don't know if you realize that we are losing our icons. We're losing them. The older crops, they go in. And we have to take stock of that and realize what a legacy that they are leaving. And we have to be able to appreciate them for that. Don't wait until they go to let them know that we appreciate them. Appreciate them now. And so Sheldon, in his infinite wisdom, put that in a song. and that is how, I mean, To You With Love was born, just from us talking about, and not only Calypsonians, but losing people, right? Because we've lost a lot of loved ones in the COVID, right? And some we didn't even get to say to goodbye properly because of all the restrictions and whatnot, you know? So I wanted to do something different. I wanted to show that love and that care. And I felt so honored doing this song.
And listening to it, looking at it and listening to it in Skinner Park. And to me, the vibe since the refurbishment is a little different. I don't know if people, they reach Skinner Park and a little more stush because of the layout of the place. But listening and hearing and just experiencing the song is the word that I want. Experiencing that song and just feeling pause raised, I'd be like, yeah, this is a big one. But do you ever have the feeling that the song Real Big Bad One, I hope I could do it justice? Or how do you approach a song that you want to give so much to?
I put myself in a song. So every time I do this song, I think about those persons that I lost close to me and that I wish I had the opportunity to say these things to. I love you, I appreciate you. So I put myself in the song. Even like when I do Fruits in Ripe Yet, I become the song because I teach young ladies. And so, you know, some of these experiences I wouldn't want for my students. I wouldn't, and I have 2 girls, so I wouldn't want for my children. So I want the message to be heard, and because I want the message to be heard, I put that passion into this song and make it mine. So without even knowing that somebody else wrote the song, you would think that I did it because I become the material.
And looking at becoming that material, you will also want to you on second, Tiny. Because I want to talk about the gospel lips. So no, but I'll be like, but hey, I sense in a trend.
You know, there's the smoke and then there's the fire. So the fire coming. The fire coming. The second was the smoke.
And you sing about fire too.
So, oh yes, yes.
What was that like? Is it a matter of people in your community and stuff who may not know or getting a taste of that? How was that for you?
Firing me?
Yes, and just the entire
experience.
I guess the competition, gospel ipso competition.
If you'd known me before, you would know that I wasn't really into church and that kind of thing. And I must say it took COVID and all of the experiences that I had. And I had a baby in 2021. And so, you know, coming out from that, I was struggling real bad, you know, within myself. And I say, you know, Lord, I'm real struggling. I needed something to pull me back from where I was heading. And he said, in simple words, come back to me. And I started to go to church. And there was our parish priest there who saw me. And we got into a conversation. And he said, Kerine, what do you like? And I said, well, I like music. And he said, okay, so you're going to be responsible for the music in church. So I started to do music in church. And something in me lit. I don't know what it was, but I those issues that I was having, those problems challenges that I was experiencing, they just faded away in the distance. And I said, well, this is where I should be. And I continued. You would know that on the day of the Mashka, I had church in the morning, and then I went to the Mashka in the afternoon. I don't miss church. It has to be something real, pressing that I would miss church. And I dedicate myself to my spiritual growth now and with my family. And so that has taken me on a journey. And as the song says, people want to know, Tiny, how you're so. I see a transformation in your life because I went from one point to the point I am at now. And I believe that God has been rewarding me because I can tell you how the journey has changed so much from then to now. And I see the blessings keep coming, and I continue to do his work. I continue to sing his praises, and I continue to give him thanks for where I am at now in my life, and to continue to grow and share my story so that others can see. And I don't know, that they can see and become better, I guess.
I want to thank you for sharing your story and doing it the way you do with such power and conviction. And I think that's a song I'll get a piece of that to go out on in terms of Fire in Me. But thank you very much, Kerine Tiny Williams Figaro. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, this has been In Depth with me, Dike Rostant. Thank you so much for joining us.